How's it going, crypto community? This is Jade, back with another Martian report. This one being another rules for success, this time being presented by Arnold, and just like the other videos in this type of content, I'm going to stop it with Arnold basically after each of his rules and relate it back to our investment here in the crypto space and how we are approaching the space, right? Because even though Arnold's talking about his success story, there's always overlays that you can take from somebody else's advice and apply it to your own life, right? So I'm going to do that to my own life and also hopefully find ways to relate that into you as a crypto investor's life as well, because most of those ways that they relate to me are going to hopefully relate to you as well. Now, if you're not familiar with my content, before we hop into this, please be sure to hit that subscribe and ring that bell so you can be up to date with all my XRP and crypto investment related content. And also, if you enjoy this, be sure, remember, hit that like. And without any further ado, let's listen to Arnold's intro.
People ask me all the time, what is the secret to success? And I always tell them, but the short version is, you got to have a 22-inch biceps. And you got to be able to kill predators with your bare hands. And of course, you got to have this charming Austrian accent. That's a given. The long version is that I actually always had 5 rules. You don't need to be a bodybuilding champion. You don't need to want to be an action hero or anything like that. If you want to excel in whatever you do, those rules are for you. So my first rule is find your vision and follow it. If you don't have a goal, if you don't have a vision, you just drift around. You're not going to be happy. I grew up after the Second World War. Austria, right along with Germany, lost the Second World War. There was, of course, depression. There was a terrible economic situation. I wanted to get out of there. I wanted to escape. And luckily, one day in school, I watched a documentary about America. I knew exactly that is where I wanted to end up. The question was just, how do I get there? How do I get to America? No one had the money to travel or anything. But one day, I was fortunate enough to see a bodybuilding magazine. And on the cover was this very muscular guy. Mr. Universe becomes Hercules Star. His name was Reg Park. I read the article as fast as I could, learning about how he grew up in Leeds in England, poor, and how he trained 5 hours a day, every single day, and trained and trained and trained, and then he finally became Mr. Great Britain, and then became Mr. Universe. And then he won a second Mr. Universe title and a third Mr. Universe title, and then all of a sudden he landed in Rome in Cinecittà, doing Hercules movies. And as I read, I became more and more certain. I had that vision very clearly laid out, to be a champion on that same stage where he won the Mr. Universe, and then to move to America, then get into movies. From that moment on, everything that I did, no matter how hard I had to work or how much I had to struggle, it didn't matter, because I knew what the purpose was, and I found my passion. Always discover your vision, and the rest will follow.
So, vision. What is your vision? My vision that got me involved in this space and many other past endeavors in my life has been this deep, burning desire since I was a little kid. That's dream that's never gone away, and that's to really leave this world, and not just a community, not just a few people, but leave the larger world better than I came into it. Because I think, like a lot of millennials, I was brought up with the mentality that I could do anything, I could be anything, I could be the president of America if I wanted, right? Obviously not a realistic goal as a child to put into an impoverished child's mind, but the idea of that hope that was seeded into my mind at a young age that I could do anything made me dream about doing the biggest things, made me dream about making the biggest changes, the most prolific, positive impacts possible that every kid dreams of at some point or another, right? Ending poverty, ending world hunger, whatever it is, whatever your fascination fantasy was that you would do when you grew up. But unlike most people, I never really matured in that regard, and I've always held on to that desire to really make some kind of profound impact. And so for me, I found crypto, and at this point, like I said, I've tried many other ways to make a real impact in the world prior to, but crypto has become this new obsession for me in the last few years, and the more I've learned about it, the more I've realized that if this system works, and if I can get involved deep enough into this system while it's still developing, that I can launch myself to having a platform where I may be able to live out those goals and dreams that I've had since childhood, right? Now, I can't say for certain what your vision is, and most likely nobody that's listening has the same vision as anybody else listening, me or Arnold, right? You may see crypto as the gatekeeper to maybe achieving those visions for your future you have, but I'm sure that we each have our own different way of hopefully utilizing this gift, this opportunity that we're being presented in this space, right?
Now my second rule is never ever think small. You have to go and shoot for the stars. I didn't just think about being in movies. No, I wanted to be a movie star. I wanted to have above the title billing. I wanted to become the highest paid entertainer. I basically wanted to be another John Wayne. What's wrong with that? Never think small, think big. My third rule is...
Before he jumps into his third rule, that second rule, it applies a lot to what I just said, right? Like as a kid, I had this big dream that most people, even myself as an adult now, feels unrealistic. But it doesn't matter that it seems unrealistic. What's important is that I don't give up that dream that I've had. And the beauty of it is that as I've grown more mature with age, I've learned that, you know, the importance of little things, the small contributions, and how those can add up quickly, right? That realization has led me to being a far more conscientious and positive individual, both not just, you know, around other people, but behind closed doors, towards myself, towards my environment, towards my life, towards my future. Positive thinking, forward thinking, big thinking. Those are ways to bring real happiness into your, you know, your mindset, your daily perspective, right? At least that's worked for me. I know that those things may cause existential crises for some people, but that's my reason for embracing his second rule. And I'm sharing this video of Arnold because I 100% agree with each and every one of these rules, and I've actually applied most of them to my life thus far, and I feel that since applying each of them, I have found a greater degree of success. So this isn't just BS. You know, it might seem like hype, it might seem like something that just, you know, lifts somebody's spirits, but this is hardcore, solid stuff he's giving.
Ignore the naysayers. I think it is natural that when you have a big vision and big dreams and you have big goals, that people are going to say around you, I don't think it can be done. I think it's impossible. I mean, it started right away when I was 15 years old and I became a bodybuilder. Right after that, when I said, I want to be a world champion in bodybuilding, I want to be Mr. Universe. They immediately said, are you crazy? Bodybuilding is an American sport, forget about it, it's nuts. And then when I wanted to go into show business, after I won 13 world championship titles in bodybuilding, I said, I want to be like Reg Park. I want to be a Hercules, I want to get into movies. Well, I tell you, when I met those agents and managers, their reaction was, oh, Arnold, that is so funny. You want to be what, a leading man? Oh, come on. I mean, look, first of all, let's start with your body. You're gigantic, you're like a monster. And then your accent, oh, it gives me the chills just listening to your German bullshit. Come on now. Have you ever seen an international movie star with a German accent? It doesn't happen. Forget about that. And then you name, what is it, Schwarzenegger or something like that? People are going to storm the theater and the movie houses because Schwarzenegger is starring in a movie. Oh yeah, I can see that already. Imagine that. Everywhere I turned, they said, no, it won't happen, it's not going to happen, and forget about it. Luckily, I did not listen. I started taking acting classes, English classes, even accent removal classes. I ran around all day saying lines like, a fine wine grows on a vine. All of a sudden, I got a little break. All of a sudden, I got a TV show, a little part, then another little part, and then Pumping On and Stay Hungry, and then, of course, I landed the big role of Conan the Barbarian. So finally, I got the big break. And you know what was so interesting about it was the director said at the press conference, if we wouldn't have had Schwarzenegger with those muscles, we would have had to build one. And then when I did Terminator, James Cameron said the I'll be back line became one of the most famous movie lines in history because of Arnold's crazy accent, because he sounded like a machine. So as you see, everything that the naysayers said was a liability became an asset. Ignore the naysayers. The fourth rule is
ignore the naysayers, right? I think that's the rule that really resonates with most of us as crypto investors more than any other. And it's a rule that many of you who have watched my price prediction for the future have seen me actively embrace when it comes to the naysayers in the comments who are not providing constructive criticism, but rather just flaming because they're butthurt that I'm throwing out large having a big picture, having a big vision of the future, right? I see big things coming. And they want to say, no, that can't happen. It won't happen. No, life is this normal thing. It never changes. Because why? Because those people are only looking at their life, their surroundings, themselves. They don't care about the world around them. That's what a naysayer really is. Somebody that doesn't care about anybody but themselves and couldn't imagine you doing well for yourself by thinking outside the box, by looking at the bigger picture, and by having hope beyond hope that if you stay focused on your goals, you can find success. That's the way I feel about it, at least. And I hope that this rule really resonates with all of you, because many of you out there, much like myself, I'm sure, at times find yourself grappling with this sense of insanity, perhaps even in some cases, right? Like, it's hard. I feel that I've heard many people in the space, joke about, we're not crazy, guys. All of us are not crazy. This is happening. And the reason people say that is because I think a lot of us have this deep fear, because we've heard so many people say, you're wrong, it's not going to happen. Everybody says that to us, especially if you're in the XRP community. If you were in the Bitcoin community, people would laugh, be like, oh yeah, Bitcoin, whatever, because they know about Bitcoin, but they don't care. But as soon as you get into XRP, not only does the rest of the world not care, but the rest of the crypto space hates you. So it's really easy to develop this sense that maybe you're crazy, maybe I am wrong, maybe the naysayers are right. They're not right. Don't give them that power. If they are right, hey, you know what? Oh well, you invested your time and energy into something that you truly believed in. And that's really what's important, is believing in yourself, believing in your ability to find something that you understand and turn that into a success story for you, right? If you allow naysayers to enter your life and allow their opinion to direct your future, guess what? You're going to be a naysayer too. And do you know what naysayers do? They say nay to every opportunity that comes their way in life. And that's why they say nay to anything you say is an opportunity for you.
Work your ass off. You never want to fail because you didn't work hard enough. It doesn't matter in what area you're in. No pain, no gain. Listen, when I came to the United States, I remember that I trained 5 hours a day, every day, and I was managing a construction business, and I was a bricklayer. And I went to college also. And I took acting classes from 8 o'clock at night to 12 o'clock midnight. Every day I did that. Work your butt off. That's what I always believe. No matter what you do, work, work, work. And my fifth and last rule is...
And that's important too, right? Because just because you have a dream, just because you have a vision, just because you have this big idea and you're saying no to all the naysayers, just saying no is not enough. You gotta put in the effort, break that sweat, and really find if you're right or wrong through effort, not just sitting back, oh, well, I'm investing in this company, they'll take care of it all. No. The reason why you found XRP most likely is because, unlike the masses, you've actually spent days, weeks, months, however long, inspecting and researching the space, looking for the most legitimate projects in it. You didn't just go with the big buzz coin, the big show coin that everybody knows, right? You didn't go with it. Why? Why are you here in XRP and not in Bitcoin? Because you spent the time, you did your due diligence, and you understand that if crypto is to be successful, XRP will be one of the most successful, more so than Bitcoin. Will Bitcoin do well? Who knows? But we're pretty certain here in the XRP community that ours is going to do well, and it's because we put in the work to make sure that our company that we're investing in, that is developing upon this ledger system's technology, this XRP ecosystem, that they're genuine, that they're doing the right things, and that they're not just blowing smoke up our ears, right? And I could relate this again to my channel. Even for myself, I could relate this to the channel, right? Like, I post tons and tons of content. I'm not getting paid for anything yet, I just hit 1,000 subscribers, so I can't even monetize my channel yet. I've gotten donations. I've shouted out the people who have, and I really do appreciate all those. But by and large, I'm not doing this to make money. I'm doing this to share with the world something that I see as the future of money, and a potential for literally anyone with $50 to eventually be able to see life-changing money with next to no real risk associated with their investment, right? As long as they're willing to be patient and wait for this ecosystem to emerge over the next 5 years. And I think it's batty that anybody out there can't grasp the fact that, this is the opportunity for literally anybody to become a millionaire. It's not hype. It's if you're willing to put the money in and wait after you've done all the research, all the other things we've talked about in this video, if you're able to do that, to find that project and then put the money down, that small investment down, and you're willing to wait the 5 years, the 2, 3, 5, 10, however long it is, because most of my viewers are aged 25 to 35. Let's be real. Majority of you, 70% of you, I'm telling you, you have the opportunity to retire before 45, 20 years before everybody else in your age group. That's not soon? Are you out of your mind? Stop looking short-term, people. Yeah, sure, we might get a really nice pump in the next few months, and a lot of people might make a lot of money, but that's not the real money. The real money comes from compounding interest. Einstein said it himself, said it best. The most powerful force in the universe is compounding interest. And how do you acquire compounding interest? By investing when something is low and holding it as it matures. Because in a decade, when XRP gains 0.5% in a day, in a decade, XRP's 0.5% is going to be several dollars, if not tens of dollars, right? Because at that point in a decade, XRP will be in the thousands. So it's important to keep in mind the reality of what you are investing in now, so that when the future comes and you see the price go up, you're not going to get screwed out of your big holdings because you dump the majority of your holdings early. You get greedy instead of forward thinking, and you hurt yourself. So what is Arnold's last rule?
Don't just take. Give something back. Tear down that mirror that makes you always look at yourself. And you will be able to look beyond that mirror, and you will see the millions and millions of people that need your help. And this is why I try to take every opportunity that I could to give something back. I started training Special Olympians. I started after-school programs for the most vulnerable children, for inner-city children, to make them be able to say no to drugs, no to gangs, and no to violence. We all can create change, whether it is in our neighborhood or in our local schools, because the bottom line is, it is up to us. Have a vision. Think big. Ignore the naysayers. Work your ass off and give back and change the world.
And that is the most important part of all, Rule 5. And that rule is exactly why I'm making this content now. It's exactly why I'm here, right? Because I have this vision for a better world. I have ignored the naysayers and I've dreamed big. And because I've embraced those 3 rules, do you know what I found? Through the hard work that I put in from Rule 4, I found this investment opportunity. And now, call it hype, call it whatever you will, I know that I've found something legitimate, something powerful, something life-changing for me. And because it's going to be life-changing for me, and because I have this vision, this dream to really make a large impact on the world and to create something beautiful in a place that I've found so disparaging growing up, this ecosystem, this XRP that we're all so obsessed about, Ripple Labs, Interledger Technologies, all this stuff, this is world-changing. This is life-changing. This is so life-changing that you, whose life is going to be changed by this, will gain the power through our collective efforts, if we so choose, to change not only our lives, but the entirety of humanity, the entire future of our world. That's how big this is. Is that hype? No, because it's fact for the people who have the mentality for success, the vision to wait and be patient and allow the future to come to them before they start shaping that future themselves, right? So, I hope you found this video deeply inspiring, deeply motivational. If you have, as always, if you're new, hit that subscribe. Be sure to hit that like also, and ring that bell for all crypto and investment-related content that I will be putting out into the ecosystem. I hope you, as always, have enjoyed, and I can't wait to see you and all my other XRP Martians in my next video. So as always, I've been Jade, and I'll see all of you on Mars.